Blade Talk with Scab and Joe.
The American experiment requires us all to push the boundaries.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Blade Talk with Scab and Joe. Sit back, relax. We got a pretty good show here.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to Blade Talk with Scab and Joe. It's been a while. It's been a long New York minute since we've been on, but we're glad to be back. And what better way to make our return to Blade Talk with Scab and Joe with John from K-Bar. John was on with us before. It was a great show. We're really glad to have him on again. A lot of interesting things going on with K-Bar, and we have the right person in the room to kind of talk about it. And I see the room is packed. I see Apex Alchemy. I see Peter Built Knife Guy, a couple of you guys in the room. And thank you for joining us on Blade Talk, guys. And we're, as always, with both our channels, our channels and Blade Talk, dedicated to our veterans, and specifically hashtag 22 a day no more. Veterans, you have a place on our channels and on our lives. As always, sit back, relax, enjoy the conversation with us. So without further ado, let's get the boys into the room and let's get Blade Talk going. And thank you, everyone, for being here. We'll try to address the chat as much as we can. If you have any questions, please put them in. As I see them, I'll try to post them on there. But let's get it going. And welcome, boys, into the room. Welcome, John, and welcome, Scab.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
John, good seeing you. Thank you for being our debut guest back on Blade Show.
Thanks for having me. It's it's July. I think it was July 11th. So it was a little over a year ago.
Was it really?
Good memory.
Yeah.
Good memory.
Yeah, that's really
I had to go do I cheated. I went back and looked.
Okay.
So here's the deal. You're back, and we want to talk some about what K-Bar's got going on. Both Joe and I did a review of the State and Union, which I really, there was a couple things about the knife that I wanted to point out to you that I really enjoyed. Overall, I like a Warncliffe blade, but I like having a thin edge, a light, thin edge, just something that you can carry on the weekend, something you can carry to work. And it seemed to hold up really, really well. Talk about the development of the State and Union, if you would.
Sure. That specific product or the whole?
The whole, well, let's talk about the product, then move into the whole deal.
Into the whole deal, State and Union, yeah.
So that knife there, that is the F01. That is the first folder that K-Bar has made in its own factory in over 50 years. That may sit there, make people question it, but the key part of that is in our own factory.
Yeah.
So we had bought some from other places before in the in the 70s. K-Bar stopped making their own and started buying it from Camillus. This was State Union was a passion project for me. It started in 2016, where we needed to make our own folders, and we needed to learn it. But there was another side of it too, which was my father echoing in my head that we were becoming more operators than we were cutlers, because the parent of us is Cutco, which used to be formerly known as Outcast. They were known as the knife maker, and they made knives for everybody. Eck, Cold Steel, Remington, tons of companies. They made knives for them. Zippo case. They got out of that product line of doing OEM and started making their own products, which was Cutco. And then they bought K-Bar in 96. But that resonated with me because I grew up in that factory, walking through there on weekends with my dad. And the thing I loved seeing as a little boy was the folding knives, right? The pocket knives. And that endeared to me later on in my career. So let's see, that was 8 years. So I would have been 40 when we looked at that and said, "Hey, we're gonna do our own shop and start making our own knives." And it was, what do I want the next 20 years of my career to look like, and where can I help K-bar leave a mark. So when I exit, they're in much better shape than when I came on. And it was, we need our own manufacturing, not our parent company, us inside of our building. And that knife that you guys got there, that is the first product, a first knife, folding knife that we made in our own factory in over 50 years. It was designed by a friend of ours, Andrei Nemec, from the Czech Republic. He works on our product development team with us. And the way that we kind of went about that is we have a bunch of people that are avid carriers, and we give them a little questionnaire of different things like, what's your grail knife? What knife do you carry more than everything else on a daily basis? If you were stuck on a desert island, what would be the one knife that you carried? And we just went through this step. Well, what we were doing was each one of those knives has attributes that people liked and didn't like, whether they even knew that they were saying it or not. We took that list, compiled the database, and then kind of went through it and went, here's the things that everyone's saying. And it was no sharp corners, light, low pocket carry, deep pocket carry. The knife was actually designed with a flat grind on it. We hollow ground the first batch of them because we could do it in-house. So they were all hand ground, including the ones you guys got. Those were hand ground, hollow ground, because we could do it in-house, and we could, so it'd be a lot faster. Once we hollow ground the knife, we never even looked back because that knife belonged hollow ground, not flat ground. Just the lines and everything. And then, of course, your video that you did, SCAB, you see it there when you're cutting through the steel belted radial. We took that knife and put it in the top of a vise. Do not do this. I wouldn't recommend this. We put it in the top of a vise and hammered on it.
Yeah.
It cut the vise.
Oh, wow.
Didn't cut through it, but it cut the vise. Like it is, they are sharp. And the S35V, it held up fantastic. They're not made to be beat up like that, but we wanted to make sure that if it did that, we knew that what we were sending you guys were great. So.
Well, the thing with the hollow ground is this, because I broke one not long ago, a hollow ground S35BN, and all the buckaroos were crying the blues. But the thing with the hollow grind to me is this, and I do mean this. I want a super sharp knife, right? There's me, and then there's the channel. But for me, I just like having a super sharp knife. Whether it's cutting a sandwich or doing whatever, the thing that impressed me too, and I did a lot where I pushed down where it was locked. I tried to do a lot where I was pushing down, right? Where this was here, and I was shoving on that pivot pin because I wanted to see if I could break it without abuse, right? I wanted to see if in the day-to-day, because if you've got it in a shop, or if you've got it in a weird position, or if you've got it, I wanted to see what it would do. And I despise the spine whack. I hate that, and I wish I knew who invented it. I'd shoot them. But I thought, you know what? Let's see what it'll do. There is no blade play, none. I didn't have any in mind, and that's kind of what I was looking for. You know, because it's nice to have a gentleman's carry. But at the same time, if you're going to buy a knife, you want to carry the knife, right? So the toughness stuck out, and the sharpness was a plus. Talk to me a little bit about the lightweight.
So here was the thing that all of us for years I've bought knives for my guys around Christmas time, where it may be stuff that they wouldn't buy themselves to get them to carry nice product, so that when this day came, when we were going to make our own stuff, that they can go, that's not as good as this knife. And, you know, I liked this better. So we'd all been used to carrying nice color. And in the summertime, especially if you live somewhere where it's hot, like I know you do, SCAB, and I know it's humid as heck where you live, Joe. A lot of us wear very lightweight pants, right? They're like polyester, whatever. You put anything like a titanium frame lock or any heavy knife, your pants are falling down.
Yeah.
You can't hold them up. And so there was people liked the lightweight knives. It was way down on their list. Actually, I think it was on almost everybody's desert island list was the lightweight lockback. And it was, well, I know that the lock's not going to fail and it's super light if I don't have whatever, and I could just rinse it off in water and it's good to go. So when we went at this knife, it was, where is the unnecessary weight added? The clips won. The interesting part about these knives is every single part on that knife, other than the wire clip, which is done up the road 45 minutes, and the fasteners, which we purchase, every single part of that knife is made in our shop and does not leave the building. Other than, and the other part is the anodize. We don't anodize aluminum in-house, so that goes out. But all the aluminum was machined in-house, everything, the handles. So if we controlled it, then we made sure that all the parts were right and that the weights were going to be on. So
let me ask you this, and it's a step back from what we're talking about, right? When you mentioned this was the first knife in 50 years that I envision you guys going out and taking the sheets off and the dust off and getting back. Talk to us a little bit about the process of what it took to actually make the knife in-house, because I'm kind of fascinated with that.
So
yeah, in terms of state and union, the origins and basically what you guys are trying to achieve with state and union.
Yeah. So where it started was I had to kick the shipping department out of the part of the building that they had. They got kicked out and we moved them, which has been moved again since then. But the second time was an upgrade. So but there was a part of the building out back which actually led itself well to like a maintenance shop, right?
Okay.
Wasn't huge, but we had power, so didn't have to worry about that. And so we cleaned that whole building out. We painted it, epoxied the floors, and we bought 2 mills. But 2 mills to start, and like, okay, easy project is we can start machining our own micarta handles for the Becker product line. And that's where we started. And we sold a ton of micarta handles. And selling micarta handles paid for those 2 machines. So then we're like, okay, let's buy another machine. And then we bought some grinders, and we bought, what else did we get in there? There's grinders, the mills, and then that was pretty much everything we had until, so now it's March 2020. Don't need to go into that. We all know what happened. So at the end of that year, I had some money I had to spend because we did really well, but we had money we had to spend, and we were just going to pay taxes on it. So we bought a new Paragon oven because we had a hand-me-down Paragon that we kept replacing the heating elements, and that was toast. So we bought a new Paragon, and we bought a new CNC lathe with a bar feeder. Both pieces of equipment sat wrapped up for a year and a half. We couldn't even get into the shop. We were so busy with everything else. So for 2 years, we didn't even go in there until we got to the point of going, all right, this is 2022. We got to get back to this. So we went back, got back into the shop, started working, and then we realized we needed some more help. We ended up, we had one guy who was supposed to be working in there, but when 2020 came around, everybody was packing boxes and shipping. It didn't matter what your shop was, that's what you were doing, me included. So 2022 is when we decided we got to get back there. So we had one guy that was dedicated to the shop all the time, and we were making red spacer K-bars. So those are the handmade leather handled K-bars that we make. And that's about all he did for the entire year. And 2023 is when we said, hey, we got to get some extra help. We ended up getting an employee out of our parent company that worked on the factory floor, former Marine and just a knife nut, a guy who actually bought product off of us from State and Union. He would, everything we made, he'd buy it. And we're like, that's the kind of guy we want to come work for us, because he's already drank the Kool-Aid, and the guy was a machinist and he wanted to work for us in the bad way. So we hired him, and I said, all right, let's, get all these machines running. I'll buy another machine. And he did it. And every time he did it, I just bought another machine. So we bought a wire EDM with a hole popper. We bought another Haas mill. We bought a Okamoto surface grinder. So at that point, we had all the equipment we needed to physically make product in that room. And that was November 23 is when we really get to that point of November 22 of when we're making knives now. We're going to be making folding knives here in a very short order. And it took like a little less than a year.
Okay.
It was labor. It was equipment, but it was also labor. You needed the people with the right mindset who cared about quality and knew to stop and check parts before you run all your material to make sure things are on before you get this thing.
So everything had to fall in line.
Yeah.
Now, you also learned how to make a folder, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, you're getting your hands dirty too. I was watching you on the video. You got some designs, I think, in the works. That you have some designs in the pipeline that are coming from you, and you're getting your hands dirty. You got yourself a grinder, and you're getting into the groove of it. That's cool.
Yeah. I love going back there. If I have a real stressful day and I need to go somewhere where I don't have to talk and just work, I go back and I assemble folders because I just like it. I like turning wrenches. So yeah, it's my origins.
Now, is that something you think you'll do when you step out of your position now? Have you thought about that?
I told him that I could be hired, when I ever leave, I can be hired as a part-time basis. With zero, I want no responsibility and no direct reports.
Right.
I just want to be told what to do.
Just make knives.
Yeah.
That's all. Well, before you go too far, we need to come see. I want to see the facility.
It's cool.
That begs the question then, I don't want to go too far into that. Let's stay with the state and union. Talk to us a little bit about the state and union, the overall project.
So we are going to, and we're well in the process of, we're going to be making all types of knives, but also all lock types that we can possibly make that we're allowed to make in the state of New York. There are certain things we are not allowed to make in the state of New York. That's fine. There's plenty of other stuff. So the F1, so the numbers on the folders, so it's F1, F2, F3, F4. The first number, so keeping with the traditional K-bar numbering system going back to 1900, the first number for these is the lock type. So the F1 is a lockback, 2 is a crossbar, 3 is a slip joint, 4 is a liner lock, 5 is frame lock, and 6 is I think compression lock or something. But we're going to start making every lock type. Even if we've never made it before, it doesn't matter, because we sit down and we figure out the engineering on it, and we're making them all. And then we'll expand each one of the lines vertically. So knife 1.1 will be another lockback, but it'll be the second one, and so on. And that's how that's
like variety, man. People like variety. I mean, I think I like the direction you guys are going in, because you're thinking, kind of out of the box, and you're thinking about what people may want, in a knife company from in a folder from K-Bar. So I like that a lot. That's great.
We know that not everybody likes the same kind of knife. I'm in that same boat. There's certain locks I like, certain things I don't like, but we want to make sure that we have options for everybody. And with the shop, I don't need to make full production run quantities to make something viable. I can do 150 or 200 knives and be done, and that's it. That's not a problem.
Can I make a request?
Sure.
New York State freaking knife laws suck, and you know that.
Yeah, I'm well aware.
you know that. I want a EDC friendly knife, but you know what? We could carry fixed blades now, under 4 inch size, but they got to be concealed. I want an everyday fixed blade from K-Bar. I want like a 3.5-inch blade, fixed blade, like an everyday EDC that you can kind of stick into your pocket.
Pocket fixed blades?
Pocket fixed blades from K-Bar.
We're working on multiple.
Oh, awesome. That's what I want to say.
We've been hearing more and more about pocket fixed blades becoming extremely popular. We've got multiple that we're working.
That's because of that guy right underneath you there. He's a pocket fixed blades freaking freak.
Yeah.
Fixed blades don't have a pivot that breaks.
Yeah, right.
There's a certain YouTuber who pushes them a good bit. But the truth is, if you can have the strength of a fixed blade and the size of a folder for the working guy, because not everybody, I love big knives. I always will and will always carry them. But a lot of guys enjoy knives, and whether it's legalities or just choice, the pocket fixed blade or even that small belt knife, man, that's where it's at right now. That's where everything seems to trend. But I think the key for that is making it, again, a work, hunting, camping type deal, which you can do pretty easily. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you got.
So what's the ideal length on this pocket fixed blade?
Well, there's some people in the chat that are saying they want about 4.5 inch. But
overall or blade?
I think 4.5 inch blade, but that's not good as really a pocket fixed blade. Should be probably in the 4-inch max or under 4-inch size to be a good pocket fixed blade, and also to coincide with a lot of laws, under 4-inch law, with the blade size, especially in New York. But I would say probably right, SCAB. I would say probably 4 inches and under for a pocket fix. No,
you could realistically, if you had a 4-inch blade, I think the key for the pocket fixed blade isn't the blade. I think it's the handle.
The handle.
And I think it's the inner grip on the handle. So if you can work the inner grip where you could have an inner grip of say 4 3/8, 4 1/4, 4 3/8, with a 4-inch blade, I think that's perfect. Or even you could do a 3.5 with a nice belly on it would be perfect. Because you can put a belly on something and change the whole dynamic of the blade.
And are these slicey? Like, is it a thinner knife? Is it a
you could go
hologram?
I want a nice spine, a slicey knife, but definitely a nice spine, a nice, good, lot of meat in back of the blade.
So hologram.
Yeah.
Thicker steels, hologram.
Is that the calculation? Oh, that's the mini. That's the mini.
That's a good size.
Yeah.
And I hate bringing a different brand on, but just that they skeletonized the handle. It's slicey, and that's probably looks like 3/16. I don't have a tape, but the truth is, if it's heat treated correctly, you could do an 1/8 and have a wicked sharp. We still, this whole survival thing. Well, let's do away with that and make a real cutting tool. If you did that, man, yeah, I believe you could not only corner it, I think you'd kill it. Yeah. And you can do that, and you could offer whatever steels you wanted to offer for the steel nerd guys, and you can do the handle materials for the handle nerd guys, and you could cover it all. But I think it's something thin, slicey, and that's insanely comfortable in hand. You turn the page, because somebody's, it's like you get a little bit of this and that, but there's a bunch of them that just fall a hair short.
Yeah.
Guns and Blades said he's still waiting on a full K-Bar wrench knife set.
That's funny. He says that because I literally was just talking to my Ford shop today and pulled out this picture that one of my friends found antiquing, and it was the coolest.
I love this
crescent wrench I've ever seen, and it was made in Buffalo. And
really?
I've never seen a crescent wrench like this, but it's so cool. I'm like, I don't know, we got to make that into a knife.
This one, Peterbilt Knife Guy gave me this one, and I absolutely love it. Joe, read that from Shore Shop.
He says, please, K-Ball, bring back the traditional dog's head slip joint line made in the USA. Collectors love the dog's head patterns.
Okay. Do you want to in carbon steel that rust too? Like the old dog set?
I love it. Let's stay right here with the traditional stuff, right?
Sir.
The platform, the Buck 110 platform. What platform is that? I know K-Bar made one of those.
That was the K-Bar 1189.
And I would love for you guys to make that. Because let me tell you something, nostalgia and tradition, while we're in the modern age, people love nostalgia, and I'm one of them. You know, something American made like that to give us an option to the buckaroos who, bless their hearts, they just get all worked up and all upset. But I would love to see that come back if it's not already. I love that style.
And if we do it, we'll make them work better than they used to.
Yeah.
Before you had to take the knife and open it, and you had the locks, because the locks that they had the whole back was a spring, right?
Right.
And to unlock it, you had to take the knife backwards and like hit it on something hard to crack the lock. Because I was 8 and I took it from my dad's room and I couldn't shut it.
Exactly.
There's no need for that. We can make it that you can actually
make it better. And that's what you do. You take classics and modernize them.
Absolutely.
And you stay with the where you're at with this one, because this one's been in my pocket ever since you sent it, to be honest with you.
That is so on that knife, I've had this same conversation no less than 4 times now. And the first comment is, the clip's really tight. And I go, no problem. And I go, how are you pulling the clip out of your pocket? And they all do the exact same thing. That little bend that's in the clip, they put their forefinger in there and they grab it and they pull. And I go, you realize that you're pinching the clip shut in your pocket, right? Oh,
listen,
like, put your finger on the bottom of the clip and pull it. And they're like, oh, like that's on purpose. So it doesn't come out of your pocket.
If anybody's had a cold steel in their pocket, they know what a tight clip is. This is not a tight clip. I've had new cold steel knives rip up a lot of jeans on me, and that's just what they do. I mean, this is not a tight clip. Actually, the smooth, I don't know if you guys can see it, the roundish textures on this slides. This doesn't grip your jeans or your pants. This slides right in on your pocket. I had absolutely no issue whatsoever taking this in and out of the pocket at all. I think this is actually a pretty well done clip in terms of comfort wise, and I think it's perfect. I don't see any issue with it at all.
The next thing we end up hearing about it too is after someone carries it for a little bit, they take it out and then they'll switch and they put a different knife in their pocket and they make it about an hour.
Right.
And they put it down and they go, it's too heavy. And they stick this back in their pocket because they cannot believe how light it is.
Right. Right.
And it's not plastic. It's G10. It's got a solid that rocker is 167 thick on those. It's not a skinny knife at all.
It's not a cheap feeling knife.
No, not at all.
It's really not.
We wanted to give people, so they bought it. They feel like they're getting their $175. So we wanted to make sure that they got everything that they want. Like,
well, you
all
kept
the little
it
details.
$200.
Yeah.
You kept it under $200.
Yeah, and you got good steel. You got S35 VM, which is great. So,
I mean, wait till we make that thing with a plastic frame and use 1095 Crovan in the.
Oh,
wait till you see that price point.
I like the sound of that. You know what I liked about the design of this knife, and I know I mentioned it on my video. Aesthetically, how you guys rounded out the spine, I think is just, it's sexy. I like it. I like how it feels. I just like how it looks. That's one of, it's weird enough, but that's probably one of my favorite features on this knife is how you guys rounded out the spine all the way to the tip. I think it's
So
cool.
I'll tell you another little aesthetic of it too. So if you hold it in your fingers and
Yeah.
hold tip blade down, spine up, and you look at the back spacer and the blade,
Right.
the blade sits proud of the rocker, right?
Right.
Like but then look at the back spacer. So does the back spacer. So they
Okay.
both sit proud, and those are both rounded above the rocker.
I see that.
That was
Okay.
all in the aesthetics.
You know, and also the jimping, it's got some nice jimping on the top. That's actually pretty damn comfortable and grippy. It's yeah, man, it's all around great design. I'm really liking what you guys did. And the fact that this is the first one in 50, I mean, I can only see it getting better from here, man.
Oh, we did some crazy one-offs for Blade Show. I mean, we had a lot of fun with it. Like we went back to you know, we made some space movie themed ones.
Oh, cool.
Some 80s car movies themed ones.
Well, out of this model?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
One of them was black and gold. One of them was gray and blue. And there was some engraving on the blade of a really ugly eagle. They were sweet. Those went fat, like immediately at Blade Show. Those are some of the first ones that went. So I Blade, we brought all the one-offs.
The main comment that I've been seeing is people want a different color scheme. So when that's your main comment, that's, you know, you're doing something pretty good.
Yeah.
And I'm sure people are going, why did you go black, black, and black? I get it.
Too.
Because everything that we do on a daily basis, the number one selling color in any knife we make, every company, it's black, black, and black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you do knives for a living, you get real tired of black, black, and black. Yeah. And when you got an option to put some color in some things, we're like, you know, we want a little color.
Yeah.
We will do black. We will do a black, black, and black. That will happen.
Yeah, when you see the same knife coming in and out of the shop, I could see how you want to see something a little different. I mean, when it's your job and you see it all the time, 24/7, yeah, I could see that.
I mean, we did some Tiffany blue. We did some Tiffany blue scales. We did some one-offs, and then just polished everything. Polished the aluminum, polished the so it literally looks like a freaking engagement ring.
Right,
they're amazing.
Right. That's cool. Joe, let me ask you a question. So, State and Union.
Yes.
So, are you guys handling like new concepts? Like, let's just say we mentioned the pocket fixed. Okay. So is that something that State and Union would tackle? Is that something that you would tackle with K-Bar? Like, how does it work? Are you guys handling new ideas and new concepts? And then K-Bar is just handling the production on whatever is already on the market?
That's a great question.
Popular and classic.
That's a great question. So something, think of it like this. State and Union, there's obviously things that we want to put in there, but then the other thing that we can do with it, it's a proving ground, right? Okay. So we'll be doing some sprint run of some Becker product, right? Becker fans are ravenous for Becker. They love that. They love that stuff. And if we're trying to prove a new concept, like we'll hear all the time, bring the Brute back, bring back this knife or the Machax, bring back this. There's multiple knives we brought back and they did not sell. And the only time that people then wanted us to, or started buying them and wanted us to bring them back was after we'd lowered the price to damn near cost and blew them out.
Right.
So that does not require a full production run to make these things. Where we can make a knife and do it in the shop and say make 200 of them in some kind of exotic steel and say, okay, you want this? Well, here you go. We'll make 200 of them. You really want it, pay for it and get it and be one of the 200. If that flies, or then we really start to hear things, or, you know, we get really good information back, then we might take it, put it into full production. But we can use it now as basically an R&D center for ourselves.
Yeah. So if you make a sprint run and it runs well, you can something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So we can on a new folder, we can go, if all of us, if we don't have other distractions, and all of us, all the people that need to be on that team, the guys in the shop, our engineer, sales side, everybody's focused on this. we can do a new folder start to finish in 90 days.
Really?
That's
bad.
drawing all the way to first piece production.
That's
We
not
90
bad at
days.
all.
It is not.
Not bad at all. 90 days.
Fixed blades is much shorter.
Yeah, I
I
can see
mean,
that.
on a best case scenario, we could probably do a fixed blade in a month.
Cool.
I don't want to say that we can repeat that often, but you could, because there's just way less moving parts. You know, there's a lot less engineering that has to go in.
Yeah.
More realistically, if you're doing and there's no material issues, right? Nothing like that. Realistically, you could get a short run of fixed blades done in about 60 days. And that's giving ourselves some cushion.
How many?
200, maybe
Okay.
more.
Okay. And that's a good run.
200 is good. No, 200 is good.
Yep, 200. We can.
I mean, considering you
get
have the
through 200.
turnaround time to be able to produce more right after that, I mean, 200 is good for a first run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're doing what he's talking about, doing 200 is an excellent run.
Yeah. Now that's going to be higher end stuff, obviously.
Yeah.
And that's for your zealots. That's your 11s, your 12s. The people that really want that stuff, that's for them. You know, it's got scarcity to it. It's the first ones we did. It may never be run again like that. So the people that really like to get out there and be their early adapters, that's for them.
That makes sense.
Okay.
That makes perfect sense. So tell us the backdrop of State and Union, where the idea came from and all that.
So the name comes from the two main roads in Olean. So in the turn of the century, there was within like a 30-mile radius here, there was like 50 cutleries in 1900.
Right.
There's now 2. Us and Case. We're the only 2 left because Ontario went out last year. So us and Case are the only 2 left. And the main 2 roads in Olean are State Street and Union Street. So the main crossroads of Olean, where the post office and the police station, the city, the town hall is State Street and Union Street. So that's where State and Union. But it also goes to New York State, and then also, Bradford, which is right over the border from us. It's only, we're 7 miles from the Pennsylvania border. That was the hotbed of cutlery in the late 1800s and the early 1900s in the United States. Most of it started right there. And that was immigrants from both Soligan and Sheffield, England. A lot of Irish landed here, and they already had some of these skills, and they went to work for cutlery companies. We also had river, and we also had railroad, which were the other 2 things that attracted in labor. So that's where the name State and Union comes from, because our original company was Union Razor. It was actually Titty Cutlery, and then Union Razor, then Union Cut. But the state side of it is New York State, because there were so many cutleries here.
Right.
And then now it is, where do I see it going? So we've had the origins of why we built it and what we did. And where do we see it going is, I firmly believe that it is going to not just kind of be a side project for us at K-Bar. It is going to be a main product line for K-Bar.
Cool.
So if the blades say, if you get something from us and it says State and Union, you know that it was made in this facility. There's a chance that I might have put your knife together for you. So if it's messed up, I did it. And if it's great, I did it. So if it's marked State and Union, it was made in this facility. If it's marked K-Bar, it was made at our parent corporation, or we still do sourcing in Taiwan. And we have started doing some sourcing also in the EU with some exciting projects.
Okay.
Anything coming soon from there?
Yeah, new concepts, new things coming in. People like new.
Here's one. There'll be 2 pieces in this. And this is forged bolster kitchen knives.
Ooh.
Made in Sheffield. I'm sorry, made in Solingen, Germany. Forged in Solingen, Germany. Forged bolster. These are kitchen. They are amazing. That's the Santuco. There's also a Sheffield. They're amazing.
Now, can you get those now?
Here's that one.
That's dope.
That is nice.
They are so good.
That's a handsome looking knife, man. That's beautiful.
And then the cool part is, so what we did with the packaging to try and make it, we 3D printed these trays, right? And they have a rare earth magnet in them.
Oh, cool.
So
That's
if you don't have a knife block to put your knife in, you can throw your box away, and you can take this and you can stick it right in your drawer.
You said that was magnetic?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
perfect.
we 3D print them. We 3D print them in house, and then we put the rare earth magnet in them. And if you need storage for your drawer, there you go.
That's a good idea. I like that.
And those are available now, right?
They are. It'll be probably in the next couple week
or so.
Right,
Okay.
Yeah, it's very close. And there was 18 of them, 18 of each one of those available first.
Yeah.
And then the rest of that run is coming.
And where can people find those specifically? In the K-Bar site, in the State and Union section?
That'll be K-Bar. So since these are marked K-Bar, they were not, and they say made in Germany on the blade. So we're not trying to pull the wool over anybody's eyes. Since it was not made in our shop, it's marked K-Bar.
Okay.
If it's made in our shop, it's marked Stitt. And so there's the differential point, which you'll also see a price difference too. If it was made in our shop, it's probably going to be a little more. Not always. There are some times that we can do things and do it on an affordable basis out of the shop.
Right.
Depending what it is.
Well, that's a question that some people are going to ask, because they're going to be like, okay, it's great. K-Bar's, in-house making knives on U.S. soil, but what is it going to cost us? Like, what do you guys, if anything, how are you guys trying to tackle projects or tackle concepts and keeping prices kind of to a point where people can get into and not have to struggle to get into those knives?
Great question. So that knife that you guys have in your hand, we are already working on the mold to injection mold the handle, the backspacer, the collars, the pivot collars, and the thumb opener. So those will be shot in multiple colors, so we can still match the color, do different colors on them. And one of the things that we have with our purchasing power that we also have 1095 Crovan. Now, people might poo-poo that, but what they may not realize is that every knife that was made until like 1919 was carbon steel. They didn't do stainless yet. All of the old K-bars that are the most collectible K-bars are all 1095 Crovan. All of them. All of the dog's heads. My homie out there who was talking about the dog's heads, all of them are 1095 Crovan.
Mm-hmm.
So we can take that F1, do it in a plastic frame and all the fixtures, all the furniture that goes with it. We can put a 1095 blade in there. So we've actually cut them on our EDM, and our guys have been carrying around F1s with 1095 Crovan blades in them to see how they hold up and see how they rust and whatever else comes up. A couple interesting things happen. We did them in our own ovens. The first time we did them, the Rockwell came out at 62.
That's pretty
so
high.
We tempered them some more.
Yeah.
It's a little high.
Yeah.
The second time they came out at 5960. So they're Rockwelling at 5960. We did mirror polished on several of them because Crovan loves mirror polish. I mean, screams. So we mirror polished some. We did some black wash coating on some, and we have not been nice to them. It's holding up fantastic. We're not getting any rust. It's carbon steel. I mean, all carbon steel will, if you leave it out in the rain, it's going to rust. But they've held up fantastic. What that does though is now that knife is probably going to land at a retail somewhere between $50 and $75 retail.
Yeah.
So that knife now with German steel, so it'll say manufactured in the USA because we can't say made in the USA because it has German steel in it.
Okay.
You're not allowed. Fine. The whole thing is manufactured in our site. We buy a sheet of steel that we buy all the time in Germany, and we make a blade, and we can make a folding knife for, say, $60 retail.
Can't say anything better than that.
I don't see a whole lot of people doing that right now.
Yeah.
No. Shit, no.
You know,
And
I've
so-
always been a big fan of the 1095, the Crow Vans. I have no issue whatsoever. You know, this is completely out of topic, but SCAB knows. SCAB and I are basically doing shorts and tests on cheaper steels and how long you can basically use them until they freaking fail. I mean, SCAB's up to like 30 something days with some D2 steel, working great, cutting every freaking day. You know, it's just I don't want to open up a can of worms on this live, but we have to basically go away from having to think that everything's got to be Magna Cut these days, or it's not good. It's not true, because, you know, a lot of the tried and true steels are freaking good and they work and they're cheaper and you can use them every day and they won't kill your wallet. You know, I have no issue with that.
Magna Cut's $30 a pound, right? 1095 is $253 a pound.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a factor of 10.
Yeah.
Right. So you go from a blade, you know, depending on what the weight of a blade is, right? Your blade might cost $10 for a folder. You can do it in carbon steel and your blade cost is like 50 cents in material.
At 1095 Crow Van, you can get sharp as shit anyway.
Yeah. On a stone, on a belt.
Yeah.
It's
Most
easy to
people
sharpen.
don't take that all day long, you know?
So I convex all mine. Like, I mean, I'll put it on a slack belt and convex it. And I mean, it is just nasty like that.
Yeah.
1095. I actually just did a test. I did a demo today with a big beefy ass 1095 blade, and I cut into a 6-inch diameter tree, and I freaking hacked it until the damn thing fell. And I just love 1095. I just love that steel. It's got a combination of everything.
Pound for pound and for the price, you really cannot beat it. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's not sexy. Okay.
Well, the vast majority of people that are going to buy a pocket knife are buying it to work. You know, the YouTube and Facebook and social media, we all like to trumpet our own importance, but the truth is we're a small fraction of the actual knife users out there. And most guys, they want a knife that's going to hold up. They want it to work. They want it to last. And if they do have to sharpen it, which eventually you do, they want it to be quick, easy, and move on. And 1095's been around since what, the early 1900s. It's an old Sharon steel. I mean, it's been there. 1095 Crow Van. I mean, it's been there forever.
Yeah.
This is why
we got old advertising. It talks about, I mean, this is like 1909 and it says chrome vanadium steel on the advertisement.
Yeah.
CV,
you know, Crow Vans, chrome vanadium.
This is, Joe just got me this one. And I love this damn thing. I'll tell you that.
You put a higher bevel on that, didn't you?
No.
Did Joe do it?
I didn't know. Well, that's a question I had to ask you. Is Amazon safe?
Great question, because it's actually on my list. Honest to God, because I have some talking points on there. So,
did Joe keep knockoff?
There are a lot of knockoffs.
Oh, don't tell me that.
And I will tell you the main culprits. Temu, Can be Amazon. You need to be, if you're buying from Amazon, you want to buy from someone you bought from before, or that someone you know who is an authorized dealer. eBay, same thing. I mean, maybe there's some legit, but a lot of fakes. Alibaba. If it seems to, if the price seems too good to be true, there's a reason. So our sales, as well as much of the industry, is down this year. We're not bad, but we're down, except for my website, which my website every year for the last 15 years has been up double digits. It's up 18% this year.
Really?
When all the market's down, why the hell is my website up? Because people are tired of buying knockoffs and they're coming straight to us because they know it's real.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's really, I mean, we're getting people to send their knives back to us and go, hey, such and such. And we're like, yeah, this is fake. And they're like, well, can you replace it? We're like, no.
Can I bring up the Amazon page?
We don't have it. You can, but we don't sell. We do not do business with Amazon directly.
Last time. Off camera. We discussed the Amazon deal last time off camera.
Yes.
Off camera. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We stopped doing business with them direct 10 years ago.
Didn't you get the last one last one that you picked up? Wasn't it from Amazon as well? Where did you get the last one that you picked up? I think it was it was Amazon. The Marine.
I made sure it was reputable. I mean, and this is reputable, right? I mean, it is. But the truth is, I actually cut my sandwich with this today and made a video of it. This one's sharp as shit. The truth is, I've gotten some, John, and you know this to be true. I've gotten some that's been razor blade sharp, and I've gotten some that I've had to work on. But I've always had a cable. I mean, I've got this one that Joe gave me. I've got the wrench, Peterbilt knife guy gave me that one. But then just right here alone, man, I've got, this is the one I bought. This is the video that I sent you, the K-Bar. This one was my first BK2 I ever bought.
That's been used a little.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you what I did with this one. And
you stripped the coating.
Yeah, first thing, right off the rip. Because I love you to death, but the BK series coatings suck.
Oh, it does.
The thing is this. I had someone sharpen this, and he sharpened it on Japanese stones and took kind of the bevel out. And to be honest with you, I took a work sharp and free-handed it and put the bevel back because I like a toothy edge for what I do. And then Kurt gave me this one. Now, took a Dremel to the top of that one, right? But then
and I bet that one's not sharp.
No. Well,
and I can tell you why.
Why's that?
So if you look at the side, see where the blood groove is?
Yeah.
See how there's a flat panel before the grind line?
Yep.
So what they started doing is we used to use that as our measuring line to make sure that the knives looked right, that the blood groove wasn't too deep in the grind line. And they kept moving the grind line down to keep it clean. We went back and looked at the World War II drawings. This was like 15 years. I think it was about 12 years ago. We went back and looked at the World War II drawing. On all the drawings, the grind goes all the way into the blood groove, into it. So look at the leather handled knife you got there.
All right. I'm gonna compare. I've got more than I thought, to be honest with you. Yeah, it goes all the way up.
Okay, so just that change of moving that grind line up takes that edge from this, or the bevel from this to this, right?
Yeah, I can see that.
So if your starting bevel is already skinnier, it is so much easier to put on an edge and keep it.
Right, I can see that.
I've never noticed that. Wow. That's about 3/16 of a flat.
So the other one, that the rubber handled one you have here, what we need to do is we just need to convex it.
Yeah.
We'll just turn into an axe.
Well, this one, he took the guard off the top, which
Sure.
that's fine. Some people do that. But I've got, let's see what else I got. Let me put that there because I'll stab myself. I've got my BK9. And I want to talk to you about the BK7. But then I was gifted this one, which I really like this one too. I'm a traditionalist. So, and the line goes all the way up there. And then I've got my big brother. And I've got another BK2 around here somewhere that I put a super toothy edge on. But I like the big brother. I wish y'all would make that with no fall. But I'll be honest with you, I believe everybody should have one in their collection. And I've got a bunch of them. I get mad, the online stuff, and I shouldn't, but the reason I get mad is this. If you know how to use a knife, and we'll talk about the tang because that's probably been in the comments 100 fucking times. Nobody can ever say anything without saying it. And I get it, right? I get it. You're driving up a mountain road and your truck goes off the side of the road and you've got your knife in your underwear and you've got to survive. And you're going to die with a K-bar. I get it. I get you're a dead man walking. But I promise you this. One, if I'm in my underwear with a K-bar, the cops are probably coming and we got a big problem. But my thing is, and I you know what? It's not that I get mad because I understand it. But that's an online thing. It's an online thing. If you use a knife as a cutting, these knives have been used for over a century. Hunting knives, that kind of thing. And it probably blew the comments up. And I really don't give a shit because I have to hear everybody else's opinion 24/7. But my thing is with the K-bar, I think you ought to have it, whether you take it with you, whether you don't, whether it stays in your house, but it's a piece of tradition. And I like that aggressive look. I've always liked it. There's something about it.
So 2 comments on everything you said. The reason you like a toothier edge on that, and you may not even know this. Do you like toothier edge on everything or just on the K-bars?
All of them.
Okay.
But that's because of what I do.
So with the mirror polish, we mirror polished some Crovan back there in FO1 blades. So we took it up to 3,000 grit grinding it. And then we put a 400 grit edge on it. And I'm trying to cut paper and and I went back to one of our guys. I'm like, this thing's not cut. And I go, I think 400 grits, the carbides are so big in the Crovan. I think that the 400 grit is too much. I went back, put a 120 grit on it, cut like a razor.
Yeah.
Mm.
There's different carbide sizes and different steels like different finishing.
Just match it up, right?
Correct. Crovan likes toothy. So that's absolutely right on it. So that's that one. Second one, rat tail tang. This would have been probably about 2003. I was at the NRA show and this young soldier walked up to me and said, KR, he's like, I got a problem with KR. I'm like, okay, sure. What's the problem? He goes, I was in Iraq and I did and my knife bent. And I go, did it break? And he goes, no. And I go, then it performed exactly like it should. And he goes, what do you mean? He put the knife down and he grabbed the handle, he stepped on the blade and he grabbed the handle and he bent it. And I go, wow. And I took the knife from him and I go, put it on the ground, turned it around the other way, stepped on it and bent it back straight. And I go, here you go. And he's looked at me and I go, that's what it's supposed to do. The reason that it's a rat tail tang is it's differentially heat treated. So the end of the tang is soft. The tip of the blade is hard. The hardness doesn't start to get hard again, and then till after you're into the ricasso area. So that's the flat part where it says K-bar all in New York. That's where it's hard, like hardened down into the blade. The tang is supposed to be soft so it doesn't break. Because what good is a knife in theater when you end up with 2 pieces? That was part of the original design by the War Board in 1941. I also get it. Now you start going to more exotic steels. They're not differentially heat treated. They don't bend at that line. They crack.
Yeah.
And when those steels crack, they just so
Well, Hansel and Gretel broke one, and good God, since they're the experts on the shit, if I ever need to make some feather sticks, I'll get with them.
well,
Or if I, a cinematography masterpiece.
well, they wait a little longer. They might be happy with a new product.
Listen, I use
well
that
in the-
modified Tonto probably harder than you're supposed to use it, and the knife didn't explode on me.
You were throwing it in a tree, weren't you?
I was threw it at a tree probably about 25 times, and
It was sticking good too.
It was sticking good. I'm not a knife thrower, so I probably had 5 really good sticks, but probably about 15 where literally it just deflected off and landed on rocks and stones and all over the freaking place. And I purposely left those shots into the video because I want to show you how much abuse I'm giving this poor knife. And then I actually was sarcastic. I'm like, oh, wow, the knife didn't explode. The tang is still on. It's still intact. Holy shit. I must have a one-off here, And, let's put this to rest. It's the whole thing with the full, because so many people doing, it's the marketing thing is full tang. So the people basically, the keyboard warriors will basically go in. They don't like it. That this is a stick tang. Well, but the people who physically use their shit would attest to the fact that the knives work fine. And those are not the people that are going to be the keyboard warriors that are going to defend K-Bar. They just use their knives and they couldn't give a shit what people say. The people who don't use them and are just going with the marketing glitches, the marketing sayings, that's the people that are making, giving everybody a hard time. But that's all I have to say about it. It's all bullshit.
Well, I've got the Hinder K-Bar in there that JR let me use. It's a great knife, phenomenal knife. But the average guy's not going to spend $600 on a knife. And if they do spend $600 on the knife, they're not going to use it the way I use it. JR just don't give a shit, send it and said beat the shit out of it like he does everything. But he knows what's going to happen. It's a great knife. Rick did a good job with it. But so did Spark on the other one, What's that?
There'll be a Magna Cut BK2 coming out later this year.
That's dope.
Full production run. We did a little something different than what everyone else is doing with Magna Cut on it. So we're not trying to make it the most. I mean, look, it's Magna Cut. Before you even do anything, the BK2, the blank of a BK2 is 2 pounds.
Yep.
Magna Cut's $30 a pound. Just looking at it, it's $60. Before you did it's not even out of steel. It's $60. So, I mean, it's not going to be cheap, but we are putting it with a plastic handle, a Becker handle, and we're putting it with the plastic sheath, not coated. So that anybody wants to do whatever they want with it afterwards, buy your own sheath, buy your own hit, fine. But we will get you a Magna Cut BK2, 1/4 inch. Have at it.
What's your HRP going to be?
We're not even sure yet. We can't even get there yet because we got to see what the production costs come back at before I even ramp it. Which I'm not trying to hit it with a full tilt either, right? Because you want to keep it that it's affordable and not $600. You want to make it that people can buy the thing, but it's definitely gonna be north of 2. I mean,
let me ask you this. I hope the Magna Cut BK2 is not going to be a 1/4 inch. Are you going to do a 1/4 inch of Magna Cut?
Yep.
Are you? Now, I don't know if you can say or not. Do you have one in the works that y'all played with?
Yep.
Okay.
We're not Rockwelling it to 65. No, because the BK2, right? Like people beat them. So you can't go that hard.
BK2.
Hell no, you're still half moon it. Like, I mean, you're gonna start having chips in it.
No.
Actually, it won't half moon. It'll explode. You'll just
Just send it to Hansel and Gretel. That'll be the first. I'll hit it with a.
They're gonna shoot it. We know
Well,
they're
I don't
gonna
have a
shoot. It's
BK2.
K-bar,
I
they're
don't
gonna
think
shoot.
it's going to be Magna Cut. I think I'll get the traditional BK2 first.
I'm gonna get a Magna Cut BK2. I most certainly am.
I want to see it beat up. I mean, shit.
But I mean, I enjoy. I'll be honest with you, and I get wound up about, but I see all sides. But at the same time, the one that you guys did for Spartan with the Magna Cut, that K-bar, and here's the thing. I want you to speak to this. When you send us a knife, when you send knife reviewers a knife, you don't soup it up, or do you? Do you go, well, this is going to be on video, or do you just go, hey, shipping, send SCAB this knife, and on about your luck?
And
I
I'm
don't pick
glad
'em out.
Scab. I'm glad
We
Scab.
pick them off. We pick them
Yeah.
off the shelf.
Good. I'm glad Scab brought that up because I actually did a live where, and it really was more for the topic of swords, but knives can definitely go into the mix. And people, the overwhelming notion is that as knife reviewers, as sword reviewers, the manufacturers are handpicking the products that they want reviewed, and they're going to be better than what they're selling to the customer.
If someone's got a good way that I can prove that I didn't, then I'd love to hear it. Or
Yeah,
people want to start doing.
that's the
You want
thing.
to start doing a. You know, like I mean, there used to be pass arounds. I'm not sure if people still do pass arounds or not, but like, do pass arounds.
Nobody's
Like,
going to send me a pass around, Bubba.
yeah, that's
Nobody's. But the thing is this. The thing is this. Because and I was going to do a video kind of supporting Joe, but my thing was this. There's been certain times that I thought, now not from you guys, but from a couple companies, I'm like, is this? Because this is good. But then I look at it and go, you know, the amount of time, and if we're just being realistic with it, the amount of time and effort it would take to handpick, and what I guarantee you, 90% of the people that are going to watch this live don't understand is most knife channels are a pain in the ass to knife manufacturers. Now you'll say no to be nice, but that's the truth.
it's part of the job. I mean, for real.
But you know what I'm saying?
If you're an athlete or somebody else, you know, part of the job is you're going to take shit, and you wanted the job, you got to take it, and that's you sit in the top seat, you're going to get it, and the way that we kind of go around that is, okay, well, if you make the best product that you can possibly make, that you know is the best, then what you actually hear is like less than 1% of the actual consumer group that you have. And we know that. Our returns are like 0.001. We get so few returns. But the ones that do come back, they make sure that everybody knows. And if they don't hear exactly what they want, it's all my fault. And I'll take it. Like I said, I sit in this seat, I take the fire. But it's not common.
Right.
At all.
Well, my point was most knife makers and manufacturers find us reviewers to be a pain in the ass. And some of that's deserved, you know. But everybody has this big feeling it's this big kumbaya conspiracy where everybody sits hand in hand to screw people, and it's like it's the mouthy minority. It's like you said. And I've held fast to a couple of things that you said last time, just kind of between us, that, you know, that's really that talk after Blade Talk last time helped me out a lot in realizing, hey, it's a small percentage that watch. It's an even smaller percentage that bitch. And you just, like you guys make the best knife you can. We do the best reviews that we can. And at the end, that's all we can do.
Right.
That's it. That's it. We can try to get better, and we do. But that's it. That's it. Hey, I wanted to bring up the BK7.
Okay.
Because I've picked one up probably 100 times, literally. There's a store 5 miles from where I work, and they have a BK7. And I've picked it up 100 times.
And you can't fall in love with it.
I can't. And I don't know what it is. I don't know. You know what I think it is, John? I think I'm expecting the BK2 or the BK9 in terms of thickness. And the BK7 seems to be thinner to me.
And you know the 7 and the 9 are the same thickness.
Are they really?
Yes, they're 1.875. And the 2 is 1/4 inch.
Yeah.
So the BK10, which is really just a short BK9, like and BK2 length, that's 1.875. So the BK10, which is the crewman, I actually like that one better than the 10. I'm sorry, better than the 2 because it's not as thick. So it cuts better, but it's not a 9. And if you're going for a 9, so the difference between a 7 and a 2 is like I think a 7 or a 2 is like 5.75 inches or something like that. You're talking, it's like an inch difference. If I'm going to go to a longer blade, I'm probably just going to go to a 9.
That might be what it is. That might be because I love my 9.
And the 9's whippy.
Yeah.
The 7's not.
No. But I've been intrigued by that BK10. I've been very intrigued by that. And I've done the BK18, the harpoon, right?
Yep.
I love that. Now that's not far off. That ain't far off from a pocket fixed blade. It's not.
And I will tell you that a couple of the pocket fixed blades that we're working on are Beckers.
Beckers?
Really?
Okay.
Yep. Yes.
That's a good thought. It's a good thought process. I can see that.
There are multiple pocket fixed blades projects we're working on. We're working Les George. There's one. Anna Leischwitz. There's one. There are some very, very high end collabs that we're doing that will be out Q4 this year. Not necessarily knife industry either, but these are big time collabs that we're working on that are going to be really freaking cool. So part of us cleaning up our, you gotta clean up your own backyard before you can tell somebody else to mow the grass. We've spent the last year plus cleaning up our own backyard, and now we're really starting to see the dividends pay off with people coming to us to wanting to collab, and us just reaching out to people, and they're like, yeah, K-Bar, heck yeah. So someone wise once told me last year on July 11th that people want a reason to like K-Bar, don't give them a reason not to. I didn't forget that, and so I've been spending my last year giving people a reason to like K-Bar.
I think you've done well.
I think I like that. That's perfect. That's a perfect comeback with that. And you know what the weird thing is? I don't know why, but a lot of comments leading up to this live, people are saying, "Oh man, I hope K-Bar doesn't go the Ontario way, Ontario Knife Company way."
Any chance?
Which is good.
I know the owners. They're not selling.
Okay, you heard it, guys. K-Bar's not selling. K-Bar's growing, not selling, getting better.
My wife doesn't
house.
My wife doesn't want me home all day long. So,
well,
need to keep a job.
The thing. There's really I've seen that comment, but to me, there's really no comparison, and I like Ontario. I do, always have. And that brings me to this that I'd really love to see from K-Bar is a machete.
What kind of machete?
I'd really like to see a standard a little bit bigger than a Tramontina, because I'm a machete freak. I'd love to see one a little bit bigger than a Tramontina. I'll be honest with you, when we were talking about Ontario, their machete, really that US issued machete has become like a real find. Something close to that, but with K-bars on spin. But I'd like to see K-bar do a machete.
Are you familiar with Collins and Company?
Yeah.
So I have a friend of mine. This is 20 years ago. He gave it to me. He gave me a stacked leather Collins and Company Legitimus. That was a I didn't know it at the time. I ended up looking it up in my book. It was a World War II machete.
Really?
It is a brass guard, and it's not even a guard. It's just the top ring of the leather, brass, stacked leather, but it's shaped. It's shaped leather, and then it has another brass on the bottom, carbon steel, and it's, I don't know, 16, 17 inches. I have never seen another stacked leather machete. Not shaped like this. It is cool as all get out.
That's wicked, man.
That would be, now I don't know if stacked leather and machete should be in the same sentence, but it's cool.
Well, you can send one to me to try out, then I'll take it in the swamp. I can tell you. But I think that would be a cool. I think it would be cool, and I think it would fit. I don't think it's out of place. You know what I'm saying? Like pocket fixed blade, yes. Machete, yes. And I just think it would fit. I really do.
Joe, are you going to pile on? It's katana time.
I would love to basically talk about walkies and stuff. Yeah, maybe like a short sword. I mean, maybe not a full size katana. Maybe like a walkie size. I think would be cool.
I mean,
20-inch blade type of thing.
Wakizashi.
They've got the K-bar knockoff sword that you see all the time. Have you seen that, Joe?
Yeah.
Like on Amazon or on Wish, it's like they call it.
It's a double stacked leather handle.
Yeah.
I gotta look that up. Oh man,
they're definitely chasing the K-bar look.
Yeah, I gotta look that up now.
So you got a lot moving forward. We got a lot going on. A lot moving forward. What are you most excited about? What that you can talk about? What product are you most excited about?
And this is not BS. I am being 100% honest here. So I've been at K-bar since 1996. Is when June of 1996 when I first worked at K-bar. I was in college, and then I came back in '99 as a full-time employee. I honestly have to say that right now, the next 5 or 6 projects that are coming out, and it's everything that we have. It is American made, it is shop made, it is the Taiwanese product, is the best lineup of product that I can remember ever. Because we have now said that this is our new bar that is low, which is our lower end Taiwan, which lower end Taiwan is like not low, and a K-bar Marine combat knife. That's our low bar. And everything else is up. That doesn't mean the price has to be up. It just means that the quality has to be there. Everything is at or above that.
Yeah.
The collabs, which I cannot mention yet because they're not close, but there are multiple of them. They are so exciting. People's heads are going to spin on this stuff. It is so cool.
On the collabs, cool. You said the collabs also coming up. Well, that's cool.
You need to come on here to announce them. We'll have you and whoever you're collabing with. We'll do a whole round table.
Yeah.
The one is going to be definitely, it's going to be limited. It's going to be a limited number, and it's only going to be available at the holidays. They are not going to last. There is no freaking way. And see, when we do something like that, we have to pay full retail for them too. Like we don't get discounts as employees. I sure as hell am buying probably 3 of these.
Oh, wow.
My dad and my brother are going to have one too. I mean,
you're saying for the holidays?
Yeah, there's.
Oh, so then why don't we set up? Why don't we set up something before the holidays? Let's see if we can just pre-announce it.
We do our holiday sale. We do our holiday sale early. So what we started doing is instead of getting it all in that mud of all the black and blue and whatever Friday, Monday, we do it like 2 weeks. We did it last year. We did it like 2 weeks ahead. It's perfect.
Okay.
And this year, is the shortest number. I believe it's the shortest number of days possible that you can have on the calendar between Thanksgiving and Christmas, because Thanksgiving's like the 27th or 28th. It's very late.
Oh, wow. That's right.
Yeah.
It's very late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll be the beginning of November when we do our thing. But it's
Well, let's do
this
it.
is cool.
Let's do it. Talk to your collab partner. Let's get everybody on and announce it on here.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that'll be awesome.
Let's do it. I mean, because this is what we've said the whole time is we want Blade Talk to be a platform for the American makers, and whether it's small, large, we're trying to get a couple of guys on, but we'd love to have you on. And seriously, we'd love to do it. That's kind of where we want to go with things, right?
Okay.
And grow as we go. We've been on about an hour and a half. How y'all feeling?
Well, I'm feeling good. I don't want to keep John on for too long. Don't want to get him too much in trouble with his wife. Now that he's home.
I do well. I'm really good at that by myself, so I don't need help.
I'm with you there.
Well, I like the fact that you gave us good confidence that K-Bar is here to stay and K-Bar is growing. I like what I'm seeing from State and Union. I like the fact that you're open to suggestion with new products and new things to bring on the creative platform, in the pipeline. I love that. Love the fact that you asked me about, Katana and Wakizashi. That made me happy, because, the funny thing is because, listen, we're talking about trying to keep everything on U.S. soil. And obviously, listen, I'm a sword freak. A lot of all my stuff's got to come, from across the pond. And if I can get a great company like K-Bar making a Crovan 1095 Wakizashi for me with a leather stacked handle, that's badass, man.
Oh, I was thinking wooden handle with a pin that was wrapped. But I mean, if you want leather stacked, then
no, listen, I am open to suggestion. I'm fine with it as long as it's a Waki style type of weapon. It's K-Bar. I like it. That sounds good to me. I
love it. John, leave us with some thoughts.
Well, I'm not going to get into any kind of rants or pontifications of stances or whatever else. What I do feel, or what I think that we're seeing or whatever, is that everyone just is ready for this election to be over. Me too. Just if we can fast forward to December, great, let's do it. I'm happy with that. And get back, 2025. I think we went into this year in 2023. I figured that this was going to be a bad year. It's worse than we thought, but I know it's not just us. I know it's all sorts of parts of the economy. Mm-hmm. Everyone is struggling. The interest rates are through the roof and people are saving, and great. You should. Nobody needs what we make. They don't need it. It's a one. So if we can, if you can get your family and get your housing and all your stuff in order and be in a better position next year, great. And the more onshoring that we can do, the better for not only for just the industry, but for the entire American workforce and just kind of our way of life. We've become so reliant on just like consumerism and just buying and acquiring crap. Then, buy less, but maybe buy better. Mm-hmm. And buying better would be, buy US. Support your neighbor.
Well done, John. Well done. Very well done. All right.
Joe,
so, yeah, let's close it off. And I'm actually really excited about December now. And I actually have people in the chat right now saying how they're going to be saving up for their new holiday sale. So I think people are pretty excited. I'm excited. I love K-Bar. I've always loved K-Bar, and to hear basically the direction you guys are going in, just as a as a blade lover and as a lover of the brand and the history of it, I just it makes me happy to see where you guys are going, the direction and what's going on, and it's cool. This was a great live. I appreciate it, John. Thanks for being with us.
Anytime. Thank you guys for having me on. Love doing them.
So everybody, listen, thank you for joining us on Blade Talk. We're really happy to be back. Next Blade Talk coming up, we're gonna probably most probably we're gonna be setting up Curtis from Spartan Blades. I think that's gonna be our next live coming up. So that's gonna be in the works for the next Blade Talk. And we move on and forward from there. SCAB, anything else?
Man, I appreciate y'all staying with us, John. Thank you so much for being with us. This is the first one we've done in a while, and you made it easy. Joe, brother, I enjoyed it. Everybody in the chat, love y'all. Thank you. Take us home, man. This has been a good one.
Have a great night, everybody. Much appreciated you guys being here. And if you're catching us on a replay, thank you for being there as well. And we'll see you when we see you. Have a good night, everybody. Ciao. Keep on knifing. Keep on knifing. Now that you walk